So you've probably seen this word starseed floating around online, right? It's a concept that's gotten super popular in modern spirituality, but at the same time, it's really controversial. So what's the deal? Are we talking about a new take on angels, aliens, or something else entirely? In this explainer, we're going to break down the idea, where it came from, and all the intense debate that surrounds it. I mean, have you ever done that? Just looked up at the night sky and felt this pull like you were looking at home? Or maybe you've just always had this deep, nagging feeling that you don't quite fit in here on Earth. That powerful emotion, that homesickness for a place you can't name, that's the real entry point for this whole idea. It's the absolute core of the starseed identity. All right, so what exactly is a starseed? Well, according to believers, it's basically the modern term for what ancient cultures might have called angels. The core concept is that these are souls from other planets, other galaxies, maybe even higher dimensions, and they've chosen to be born into a human body. Now, they're not here on some cosmic vacation. They have a very specific job to help lift up and awaken all of humanity. What's really interesting about these traits is they're not about having superpowers. It's more about a deep internal kind of wiring. A powerful sense of mission, like you were born for a reason, an almost overwhelming empathy for the pain and suffering in the world, and just this gut feeling that the way our world is run is just fundamentally off. But here's the thing, starseeds are not considered superior. They have to deal with these same struggles as everyone else, because they supposedly go through a veil of forgetting when they're born, losing all memory of where they came from. So while that feeling of not belonging might be ancient, the actual term starseed has a much more recent backstory. And it was really pushed into the mainstream by one very, very busy author. That man was Brad Steiger. Born Eugene Olson, Steiger was an absolute writing machine, cranking out nearly 170 books on everything paranormal you can imagine. UFOs, ghosts, you name it. But the key moment for our story comes in 1976. That's when he published Gods of Aquarius and introduced the world to this idea of star people, the direct precursor to today's starseeds. But not everybody was on board with Steiger's work. Not by a long shot. Right from the beginning, he drew a lot of fire from skeptics like the investigator Joe Nickell. To them, Steiger wasn't a spiritual guide. He was just endlessly promoting sensational, unproven claims. And that tension, that's really at the heart of this entire story. But despite all that criticism, the idea took hold. It really grew and developed this whole rich mythology around it. So if these starseeds are here, what is it they're supposed to be doing? Well, their mission is seen as anything but small. Believers say starseeds are here to be a kind of course correction for humanity, to help us avoid what they call draconian future timelines. We're talking classic dystopian stuff, authoritarian control, engineered poverty, and mass mind control. The goal is to wake humanity up so we can collectively choose a better path. Now, to understand this a little better, the belief system makes this key distinction. You have Earth souls. These are souls who have had their whole cycle of lifetimes right here on Earth. But starseeds, on the other hand, have a much bigger cosmic resume. They've had lives on other planets or in other dimensions before they decided to come to Earth for this one. But that kind of raises a question, right? Why go through all the trouble of being born as a human and forgetting everything? Why not just land the spaceships and tell us what to do? Well, according to the lore, it all comes down to one thing: respecting free will. Direct intervention would basically be like cheating. So by being born as humans, they can influence society from the inside out, which is framed as an act of true love and integrity. And the mythology gets even more detailed, breaking starseeds down into different types based on their star origins. For instance, you have Pleiadians, who are often described as charismatic, natural-born teachers with high emotional intelligence. Then there are Sirians, who are kind of like the Renaissance men of the cosmos, mastering both art and science. While there are tons of supposed origins, the one common thread always seems to be a deep sensitivity and, yeah, a little bit of eccentricity. So this journey from a forgotten past to an active mission is what's called the awakening. It all starts in a dormant state because of that whole veil of forgetting thing. Then, certain life events, often a big crisis or some profound experience, act as a trigger. This supposedly sets off an internal alarm clock, which starts to bring back memories and a sense of purpose. And that's when their mission can finally begin. Okay, so that's the belief system. It's pretty intricate, but like we talked about earlier, there is a completely different way to look at all of this. And that view comes straight from the world of academia. To really get the academic perspective, you gotta understand the term fringe theory. This isn't just an idea that's not popular. It's a viewpoint that is way outside the accepted evidence-based scholarship of its time. It's an idea that's seen as pretty out there by the experts in a field. And fringe theory is exactly how academics label Brad Steiger's work. It's widely criticized for making these huge, far-fetched claims with no scientific evidence to back them up. He's been accused of writing spurious content and for failing to cite sources, a huge red flag in the academic world. At the end of the day, it's broadly classified as pseudoscience. But hold on, the academic critique isn't the final twist in this story. In a really fascinating turn, one of the sharpest criticisms now comes from within the spiritual community itself. It's a warning that the entire starseed idea has been compromised. From this point of view, the argument is that the original, pure idea of a starseed has been intentionally stupefied or dumbed down. The claim is that it's been twisted and hijacked by what they call controlled oppositional tactics and counterintelligence, basically a way to take a powerful concept and make it harmless. And this leads to what they see as the ultimate pitfall. For someone who identifies as a starseed, the biggest danger isn't being laughed at by outsiders. It's getting trapped in the very system of control, the matrix, that they supposedly came here to help dismantle in the first place. The rescuer gets caught by the very thing they were trying to save everyone else from. So how does this hijacking supposedly happen? Well, according to this internal critique, the paradigm gets flooded with really distracting, elaborate mythologies. Complex maps of galactic wars, endless lists of off-planet groups, all designed to basically groom the mind. This can create a synthetic awakening that leads people down a false light path. In the endgame, it traps them in fundamentalism and rigid thinking, which ultimately makes them totally ineffective. So where does that leave us? What is a starseed, really? A genuine spiritual identity for people who feel like they just don't belong? A modern psychological phenomenon that gives meaning to feelings of alienation? Or is it a powerful idea that, as even some of its own believers warn, has been hijacked? The answer, it seems, really depends on who you ask.